Good morning, students. I am your Ekedas sir. Today, we are going to discuss about the archaeological and literary sources of Indian history. In this section, we will discuss that how the Indian history that we reconstructed by the historians through different sources. Here, we will discuss both archaeological and literary sources. Dear friend, the Indian history comprises a long periods from prehistoric to the spanning of from 6th century after the fall of the Gupta Empire to 18th century and the beginning of colonial domination to till 21st centuries. So now a question arises in our mind. How the historian they reconstruct the history of India. So here I would like to say one thing, my dear friend. The historical sources are the most important and basic things to reconstruct the history of any nations or culture. Without sources, one cannot go to history of any civilization. So, sources means anything like artifact, material, remains through which historians can get information and reconstruct history of that periods. Today we will discuss these sources of history through which the Indian history can be reconstructed by the historians. So now again a question arises in our mind that why to study sources of history? First up, we should know to understand how history is written. That's why we are studying history. Again, to know the concrete evidence of history. Then, to validate the facts and to ensure the truth is recorded as history. That's why we are study the sources of history. The broadly speaking, dear friends, sources of Indian history can be categorically divided into two, archaeological and literary. Further, archaeological sources divided into inscription, coins, material remains, and monuments. Then, literary sources, secular, religions, and foreign accounts. Now, we will discuss the archaeological sources. Archaeological sources includes epigraphy, numismatics, and other architectural remains. As already I have told you, these archaeological sources, here we are following two methods to get the different materials remains of past periods. One is explorations, another is excavation, where we are getting so many material remains, artifacts, and other artifacts of that periods. The study of inscription is called as epigraphy. So we will discuss here the different type of inscription, how the historians they are constructing history through this inscription. These are the most important records which are most reliable evidence of what happened during various periods of ancient Indian history. Most of these inscriptions are carved on stone pillars, iron, silver, bronze, gold, copper plates, currency, sculptures, and wall of caves or temples. The earliest inscriptions are those on the seal from the Indus Valley civilization sites, date back to 3rd millennium BC, written in some form of pictographic script but could not be deciphered. The shell represent various animals, tree and deities. The earliest deciphered inscription dates back to 4th to 3rd century BC. Most of these are during the periods Asoka edicts inscription on pillars and rock. These inscriptions were written in Brahmi script, while inscriptions found in the northern western corner of his empires were in Kharosthi scripts. The inscription can be various forms such as administrative inscription, eulogical inscription, religious inscription, commemorative inscription, donative inscription. These are the different type of inscription. The Lumbini pillar inscription is a royal commemorative inscription recording Asoka's visit to Lumbini, the Buddha's birthplace. Again, Brahmi script is the mother script of all modern Indian script such as Devanagari, Tamil, Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, except Urdu. It was read from left to right. In all inscriptions of Asoka, he was termed as beloved of gods, Devanama Priya. The edicts of Asoka are collection of 33 inscriptions on the pillars of Asoka, as well as the boulders and cave walls. The 13 drug edicts of Asoka express his remorse affect the Kalinga war. So, my dear friend, from this inscription, we are getting clear information about the socio-political economics condition of that periods. Again, the eulogy of Samudragupta presents the Prayag, Allahabad, carved on the inscription of Asoka is the best example in which victory of Samudragupta mentioned. The other example of this type of inscription are Gwalior eulogy of Raja Bhoja, and one of the most inscription that is Hathigumpha inscription, Junagadh inscriptions, other inscription of India which is excavated in different places of India. The land grants are mostly engraved on copper plates which records the sale or the gifts of lands. From that land grants we can get information and records of the achievements of different kings. The teaching inscription tell us about the development, art, language and religion in India at that times. Here I would like to share with you, my dear friend, many emperors, kings, they were issued at that time the different private inscription to dignify their administrative mechanism and popularize the theory of their administration and their names. The inscription of the descendants, Danda, they provides proof of this happening. Here, many foreign countries' names are also mentioned, so that the historian can easily reconstruct the history of that periods. Now we jump to coin. The study of coin is called numismatic. Dear friends, apart from inscription, coin is also a great source of information. They provided so many information of that periods: political, economics, administration and social condition of that periods. The purity of the coins show economics condition of that times, and also we are getting information of the metallurgy of that periods. The symbols engraved on earliest coins, different type of symbols, we will get the information of different religious or religious condition of that periods. The Indian rulers inspired by them also introduced different coins. Many foreign rulers, they also, Indo-Greek rulers, they also issue different coins. And from their coins, we are getting different information of different periods. The Indo-Greek rulers of Bactria who conquers northwestern part of India, that also mentioned in different coins. The Indo-Greek rulers Sakas, Kusana, Pratyahara, they issue number of coins, and from those coin we'll get the time periods and the name of the empires of the periods. Gupta coins, Panchmar coins, other coins, they are very important of that periods. In this way, the coin help in ascertaining information and gather information, give so many information to historians. When coins are found in mass numbers in a certain areas, then it is estimated that the area belongs to that king. The reign of king is known when a date is found on the coin. The portraits of deities help in knowing the religious nature of the specific king. From these coins, we are getting many information of socio-religious, economic condition of that periods. Now, material remains and monuments of that periods, these are the most important source to reconstruct the Indian history of that periods. The remains of sculptures, painting, buildings, temple, mosques, masjid, and the British monuments and other objects of that time are important sources of information. They tell about the development of art, architecture, society, and religious nature. The discovery of remains of the earliest urban civilization of India, that is your Harappa, has told about many development done in the past. The temples of north have its own distinct features. Their art styles are known as Nagara architectures, southern styles are known as Dravidian, and the mix-up styles, that is Besara styles. We'll get so many temples from these sources because so many materials or so many remains buildings are still exist. In this way, we will get the information about that periods through archaeological sources. Now, dear students, we will discuss the literary sources of Indian history. The literary sources includes literatures of Vedic, Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, and other literature, along with other foreign accounts. The ancient Indian literature is mostly religious in nature. The Puranic and epic literatures are considered as history by Indians, but it contains no definite dates of events and kingdoms. That's why I have told many times, my dear students, the archaeological sources are the scientific in nature, the scientific study of history. Still, we can't deny the importance of literary sources. The effort of history writing was shown by a large number of inscriptions, coins, and local chronicles. The principles of history are preserved in Puranas and epics. The Purana and epics narrate the genealogy of kings and their achievements, but they are not arranged in a chronological order. The Vedic literatures contain mainly the four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Sham Veda, and Atharva Vedas. These Vedic literatures is in different language called the Vedic language. My dear friend, this Veda gives reliable information about the culture and civilization of the Vedic periods. And 6 Vedangas, which are important limbs of Vedas, they are evolved for the proper understanding of Vedas. Again, the Vedangas are the Sikhya, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chanda, and Jyotisha. These are the Vedangas. Vedanga has been written in precepts, sutra form. This is very precise and exact form of expression in prose, which was developed by the scholars of ancient India. Again, we will get many books of that period, Ashtadhyayi, written by Panini, which is a grammar books that gives information about that periods. Then the Brahmanas give a description of Vedic rituals. Aranyakya and Upanishads give speeches on different spiritual and philosophical problems. Puranas, the 18 numbers of Purana, mainly historical accounts the Ramayana, Mahabharats, epics, great historical importance, will get information, both political, socials of that periods. Then we come to the Jaina and Buddhist literatures written in Prakrit and Pali language. Early Jaina literature is mostly written in Prakrit language. Prakrit language was form of Sanskrit language, and Pali language was form of Prakrit language, which was used in Magadha. That is called as local language of Magadha at that times. Most of early Buddhist literature is written in Pali language. So through this language, this Jainism and Buddhism got more popular in that different local area. And from that literary sources, we are getting more information about that periods. Then, my dear friend, one of the most important books, Buddhist books, are called as Jataka stories. They have been given some historical importance because these are related to different birth story of Gautam Buddha. Then jump to Dharma Sutras, Smritis, were the rules and regulation of that periods. One of the most important dramas of that period was Mudra Rakshasa, that was written by Visakha Datta. That so many books are written in that periods. Malavika Agnimitram, written by Kalidasa. Then different books written by Banabhatta. One of the most books is Harsha Charita. These are the books which the historians get many information to reconstruct the history of that periods. Again, one of the top books of that periods was Rajataringini, written by Kalhans. Really, the historians, they get clear information from that books, a chronological, styles writing of histories that written by Kalhans. Then we jump to foreign accounts. The foreigners, the foreign travelers, they left many books, many texts which helps a lot to reconstruct the history of India. Herodotus depended upon Persian sources of his information about India. My dear friend, a detailed account of invasion of India by Alexander was written by Arrian, one of top Greek historians. Again, you jump to Megasthenes, who wrote the great book Indica. The many foreigners, foreign travelers like Phayan, Huensa, Issings, they wrote different books. Phayan wrote the great books Phakoki. Huensa wrote the great books Siyuki. These books already mention the socio-economics, political structure of ancient India, medieval India, particularly ancient India of that periods. So dear friend, if you come to the medieval periods, definitely you will get the great book written by Al-Biruni, Tahqiqat-e-Hind. That book also one of the most important source to reconstruct the history of India. Then we jump to another great historians of that period, Ibn Battuta, who wrote the great books, the Rela, which gives a clear picture of that period's political, economic and administrative picture of Delhi Sultanates and medieval Indian history. These are the different books which get information to reconstruct the history of that period. My dear friend, in this way, the historians, they reconstruct the history of India, and sources play an important roles to reconstruct the past history of India. I hope you enjoy in this class. Have a nice day. Thank you.